Now I'll talk about what sometimes seems to be cruel and what sometimes seems to be compassionate. It's not exactly so. Okay, the first one is sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind, especially parents with their children. If the children needs a spanking, give them a spanking. That's actually kind, it's not cruel. Because a small boy, when you spank him, he will not think that you are kind to him. But that is actually being more kind than unkind. Now, the Buddha said that if a person conducts himself well in body, speech and mind, then even though he says he hates himself, actually he loves himself. But if a person misconducts himself in body, speech and mind, even though he thinks that he loves himself, actually he hates himself because he's causing himself suffering, either now or in future. For example, if a person breaks the precepts, for example, he cheats, he thinks to benefit himself, he cheats the company of millions of dollars to benefit himself. But he's actually harming himself, not benefiting himself. And he's going to suffer for a long time in the future. So such a person does not love himself. So the Buddha also said that in teaching others, we should use a soft approach. And if it doesn't work, we should use the hard approach. And if necessary, then the soft and hard approach. So there was this sutta called the KC Sutta. This KC was a horse trainer, a well-known horse trainer. And one day he came to see the Buddha, and the Buddha knew that he was a horse trainer, so he could discipline horses so well. So Buddha asked him, how do you discipline the horses? How do you train them? Then he says he uses the soft approach, meaning they like to eat sugar cane, he give them sugar cane, and they like to eat sweets, whatever food they like to eat, he gives them and coaxes them to do whatever he instructs them to do. Then he says if this doesn't work, then he uses the hard approach, either whip them or take the goat stick, poke into their skin. And then the Buddha asks, what if the soft approach and the hard approach doesn't work? Then he said, in that case, I destroy the horse, in order that they not bring shame to the stable, right, to his master. Then he asked the Buddha, Bhagavan, you are also a trainer, you're a trainer of men. How do you tame your men? Then the Buddha said, I also use the soft approach, I also use the hard approach. Then he asked, what is your soft approach? Then the Buddha says, I explain what is good karma, what is good conduct in body, speech and mind. And I explain the result of that is rebirth in the heavens or in the human realm to enjoy. Then what is the hard approach? Then the Buddha said, I explain about the three evil karmas, body, speech and mind, and how these three evil karmas bring you to rebirth in the woeful planes, in the ghost, animal and hell realm. That is frightening. So that is the hard approach. And also both the soft and hard approach. Then he asked the Buddha, what if this doesn't work? Then the Buddha said, then I kill the man. And then he said, Bhagavan, you are Arahant, Sammasambuddha, surely you don't kill a man. And then the Buddha said, yes, in the Aryan discipline, it is death to a man when his teachers or his companions in the holy life refuse to teach him the Dhamma. So, if you have no opportunity to learn the Dhamma, then you are not progressing in the spiritual path. Then you might as well be dead. You are just like a dead man. Now, how can hòa con kisi ka ho? Because you are wasting your life. The Buddha says, if you live 100 years and you don't practice the spiritual path, it is better you live one day and practice the spiritual path. In fact, if you live 100 years and you don't practice the spiritual path, you are going backwards. Because every day in our human existence, we are using our blessings. Day after day, we use our blessings. 100 years later, you're already in the red. It's bankrupt business. Sipun and Singli. So that is death in the Aryan discipline. So that's why if parents, if children, they need to be taught the hard way, give them the hard way. Sometimes they need to be, you need to use the software. You do your homework. Tomorrow I bring you to McDonald's or something. So give the spanking when it's necessary. Nowadays, the other day, in fact, somebody told me, a lady told me, the husband said, Bhante, I see to spank the child. He's out of date. He's in the long ago time. He said, nowadays nobody spank their children. The father said. But then you see in the West, they don't spank their children. What do? They ask the child to go up to his room and lock the room, don't come out. Right? That's one way. Another way, favorite TV program, cannot see. These are ways and means to show them you mean business. Right? So that is need to be cruel, to be kind. Now the second thing I'd like to talk about now is in the suttas, one day, this big, huge deva by the name of Rahu, is an asura, very huge. One day he caught the moon deva. Chandima caught the moon deva, was about to kill the moon deva. I don't know why, maybe wants to eat him up or what. So this moon deva called out to the Buddha for help. Then the Buddha is not always in deep samadhi. So the Buddha happened to know. And then the Buddha responded by talking very loudly to this Rahu, Sasura, asking Rahu to release this Chandima Deva. Said, the Buddha has compassion for beings, and this Deva has called out to my name, so you release him. So this Rahu, when he heard this loud sound of the Buddha, quickly released this moon Deva and flew back to his Asura heaven and was trembling from head to foot, shaking all over. So the Asura king saw him and asked him, what happened to you? Why are you shaking like a leaf? Then he told him what happened just now. Then he said, if I had not released that Chandima Deva, my head would have split into 7 pieces. So you see, when the Buddha gives instruction like that, and they don't heed it, the head can split into 7 pieces. Is that being unkind? That's not being unkind. The Buddha is being compassionate to this Chandima Deva, and he's not causing this Rahu's head to split. If the Rahu did not respond to the Buddha's instruction, his head would have split. That is his own doing, right? So you see, why? From here you can see maybe why 99.9% of Pachika Buddhas don't teach. If they teach, and you don't listen to the Pachika Buddha, creating very bad karma. That's why in the suttas, whenever the Buddha teaches the Dhamma, anybody he teaches to will become a stream enterer. If that person cannot become a stream enterer, the Buddha will not teach him. Because the Buddha teach him and he doesn't become a stream enterer, he's creating very, very bad karma. Right? He does not believe what the Buddha says. Right? And the same thing happened another time with the Sun Deva. Sun Deva also was caught by this huge Rahu, and the same thing happened. Now, in the suttas, we find that one of the previous Buddhas was called Kakusanda Buddha. And because he was preaching the Dhamma and bringing people out of samsara, Mara, Satan, was very angry, wanted the Buddha to stop his work. So he tried ways and means to stop the Buddha, and did not work. Whenever he tried, the Buddha would tell his disciples, Mara is trying to do this, Mara is trying to do that, so he don't react. So he found that he could not succeed. He got so angry. One day when Kakusanda was walking on arms round, this more senior disciple behind him, his Mara got into somebody's body, took a big stone and came from behind and whacked that monk from the back until his head was bleeding all over with blood. And Kakusanda Buddha probably thought that's enough. Turned around and stared at him, what is known as the elephant look. Stared at him, immediately Mara died and landed in hell. Is the Buddha being unkind? The Buddha probably thought, you stop here and now. And probably he did not want to stop. He probably wanted to do some more. And he immediately died. So in the same case, it's like just now, the Buddha gave an instruction. He stopped doing it. He doesn't want to stop. So he has to reap the natural karma of going to hell. But it's better for him to go to hell now, instead of creating some more evil karma against the Buddha and his disciples. And then he will go to hell for a much longer time, right? So, who was this person? He went to hell, was reborn in hell. Then he said that he had a fish head and a human body in hell. And after suffering for a long time in hell, he came back to the earth, to the human realm, and was reborn as Mahamoggallana. Moggallana the Great. So the Mahamoggallana was talking about his previous life. So sometimes we see like this, we don't have the wisdom, we think, this person acts in such a way, he's not compassionate. It's not so. Now, another thing I like to say is that in one of the suttas, the Buddha said that, I think somebody asked him, is it better if somebody does something praiseworthy, we praise him, and somebody does something wrong, unpraiseworthy or some big fault, then instead of saying the truth that this person did wrong and all that, that we are more compassionate if we don't speak ill of others. The Buddha said no. Buddha said, if somebody is worthy of praise, we praise him. If somebody is worthy of dispraise, then we dispraise him. The Buddha was very blunt, like all Aryas. Black is black, white is white. Bo Kong Eng Siu Hua. Don't speak sweet words. So like Kassapa. Kassapa is not very popular with lay people because he's very blunt. One day in the Vinaya books, remember Ananda at that time. Remember Ananda was more than 80 years old after the Buddha had passed away, and he was walking with a big group of disciples, about 1,000 monk disciples, and going here and going there. And Mahakassapa scolded him, "You small boy, what are you doing walking around all over the place with 1,000 disciples, making it difficult for the lay people to feed you? Because if you walk with 1,000 monks, you go to a place to ask for food, it's difficult for the lay people to feed." So you see, he's so blunt. This member Ananda said, "One day, I'm old already, my hair is already white, and he called me a small boy." Again he shouted at him, "Small boy." So you see, Arahant also can speak like that, because they are very blunt. So in the same way, in the suttas, we find that the Buddha scolded this external ascetic leader called Makkhali Gosala Buddha. The Buddha said that fool, Makkhali Gosala Buddha, teaching Dhamma. Because this fellow, this Makkhali Gosala Buddha, he says there is no karma. When you say there's no karma, people can do what they like, right? They're not afraid of any consequences. So the Buddha said, this fool Makali is leading people into the woeful plains, just like a fish trap now. You make all this bamboo, you lead all the fish into the ketong, and they cannot come out of it. The Buddha said the same way, this fool is causing people to go into the woeful plains. So the Buddha also was very blunt. So also, the Buddha also said in the Anguttara Nikaya that what is Dhamma, we should say is Dhamma. What are Dhamma against the Dhamma, we should also speak out. The Buddha said we should not be afraid to speak out. But then if you speak out very often, you are unpopular. So the Buddha also was unpopular actually during his days. That's why in the Sutta, the Buddha said, I don't quarrel with the world. The world quarrels with me. He who speaks the Dhamma does not quarrel with the world. So we have to be blunt. Now another one I'd like to talk about is some people like to rescue animals. That is quite good, but then it's one of those things that you can't help very much. We have this SPCA, Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Their aim is very good, very noble. In England, they call it Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. They rescue the dogs and the cats and all the animals that are endangered, and they keep them, hoping that somebody will take it and take care of it in their homes. But then, what is happening? Like in SPCA in Kuala Lumpur, they rescue and they have so many cats and dogs in the pen that they cannot manage. So if you bring them a cat or a dog, after a few days, like 1 week, nobody comes to take it, they will put it to sleep. So when they put it to sleep, what are they doing? They are creating very evil karma. If it comes to that stage where they have to put it to sleep, it's better don't do it. Right? It's just like some people, they want to pray to heaven to get married, and they go and slaughter an animal and pray. They want to get married, but they are getting demarried, the Buddha said. So in the same way, people like this SPCA, they want to get married, but actually they are getting demarried. I have one supporter whose cousin works in the SPCA. She went to work there because she loves animals, kind to animals. But after working there, she finds she has to tell the worker which animal to put to sleep. And every time she does it, tears in her eyes, she simply point, this animal, that animal. So if it comes to that stage, don't do it. The other thing is, some people think spaying is cruel. A few months ago, there's one lady from Perlis phoned me, and she said there were 2 stray female dogs outside her house. So out of kindness, she took them and fed them, and eventually became her dogs. And every now and then, they give birth. She has to go and find people to give the puppies to, and after some time, people scared of her. Always approaching with the puppies, see her also run away. So much so, she's at a loss what to do. So her friends, told her what? Friends say, you beside them, cannot spay. You bring it to the marketplace, go and release it. Release it. You will find food in the marketplace. Can a dog find food in the marketplace? Even if there's food in the rubbish bin, you have broken glass, you have nails and all that. And then, dogs have their territory. If you bring a dog to another dog's territory, you'll get bitten. So very often, these stray dogs get bitten all over. And it's very common to see a stray dog with a wound at the back, big wound with a lot of maggots. The maggots are eating at the flesh. It's in great pain. That's what happens if you release a dog. So how can you release a dog? So the most compassionate way is to spay the dog. Don't be afraid, I told her. It's not cruel to spay a dog. Not much pain. Even human beings also go and spay themselves, isn't it? So that they don't give birth anymore, isn't it? Not only women, men also do it nowadays, right? So what's uncompassionate about it? In fact, that's the most compassionate way. In Timor, where our monastery is, we have a lot of dogs all around because we have a lot of these fish ponds, and they keep the dogs so that people don't come and steal the fish. But they never spay the dogs, and they multiply so much. And then every now and then you hear the female, the bitch on heat and gets bitten by all other dogs. Always crying. And I think that's pretty cruel. Our dogs are spayed and they live comfortably. They never get bothered by other dogs until they're so fat. So spaying is not cruel. And then nowadays in Mahayana Buddhists like to practice liberation of animals. Also, that was not encouraged by the Buddha during the Buddha's time. Nobody practiced liberation of animals. Because I've been in Mahayana Buddhism for 9 years and I've seen a lot of liberation of animals. And I find it's not really practical. Because a lot of times, for example, birds, when they release the birds, they've been kept in the cages for so long, either they don't know how to fly, or I've seen sometimes they fly only about 10 feet. Some can fly higher. But there was one time when I was in Lunas and somebody came and said the sister is dying of cancer, so she wants to she wants to liberate 3 pigeons. She brought 3 pigeons. So she wanted me to liberate, so I released the pigeons. One fell to the ground. Second one flew up about 10 feet. Third one flew up about 20 feet. So the one that fell to the ground, we had to catch it and put it in the cage. The next day, the one about 10 feet fell to the ground. Because I had no food to eat the whole day. So I was so weak, I fell to the ground. So I saw the cat coming, quickly caught it, put it in the cage. The day after that, the one 20 feet up there fell to the ground. Because they have been in the cage so long, they don't know how to find food. There's a time also, some people, when I was living on Penang Hill in the cave, somebody brought pigeons also to release. And some flew, and some dare not fly out also, want to stay in the cage. They feel safer in the cage. And I've seen also when I was in America, they release a lot of birds, A few days later, we find the birds' feathers on the ground. Because there's a lot of eagles around. And these pigeons, they don't know where to hide. So they are easy prey for the eagles. And sometimes they release the tortoises. They buy the tortoises, they release in the river. And then a few weeks later, you find the shell of the tortoise. Because it's not used to that place. It doesn't know how to find food in that place. And the place is so rocky and it's not the right place to release it. Tortoises, they need a place where there's a lot of plant life, shelter, but there's no plant life there. Another time I was staying in Seattle, they released one tortoise in the garden, thinking it would be safe in the garden. A few days later, I smelt it, the corpse. Got killed by a badger. So a lot of the times, liberation is not practical. Well, of course, if you see somebody about to slaughter a sikachua, iguana or something, you can buy and liberate it. And the last one is meat eating. A lot of people think that it is cruel to eat meat, but the Buddha did not encourage vegetarianism because the Buddha is very practical. In fact, one of his disciples, Devadatta, asked the Buddha to make a rule so that all monks should only eat vegetarian food, and the Buddha said no. The Buddha said, meat that has 3 conditions is pure. If you do not see, you do not hear, and you do not suspect that the animal was purposely killed for you, then there's no evil karma in eating the meat. Because when we eat the meat, for example, you go to the market and you buy pork, it's already slaughtered, or fish already dead. you are actually not causing the death of those animals. But a lot of people think because we eat meat, then people slaughter more animals. But they fail to realize that even if the whole world became vegetarians, there will still be slaughter of animals, killing of animals. Because, for example, now dogs without licenses, the government employs people to kill them, because if they multiply too much, then they will have rabies and they will bite people and all that. So the government finds it necessary. In fact, I think last year, in China, there was a place where the dogs were biting people and they had to shoot all the dogs. So the same with other animals. If we allow them to multiply, they'll multiply so fast that they'll be eating all the crops and walking on the streets and all that. So they will still be eliminated. So only thing is the world itself is cruel. We cannot change the fact that the world is cruel. That's why the Buddha said the world is dukkha. In fact, in the Bible says that the world is cruel. So Buddha only told us to be careful, not to have the direct karma of killing. The indirect karma we cannot help. Even staying in a house, you are contributing to more housing estates being created. When they want to create a housing estate, they have to bulldoze the land, clear the land. A lot of animals die. A lot of animals cannot survive. Because you want to use electricity, government builds dams. When they build dams, the river is flooded. A lot of animals die. Same, because you want to use household items, then factories are made. They have to clear the forest, etc. Now this argument that because we eat animals, more animals are slaughtered. If that is valid, then we cannot sit in cars. We cannot drive cars because according to statistics, every day 2,000 human beings are killed on the roads every day, and countless animals. So if we make more cars and more vehicles, more people will be killed, right? So are you contributing the death to more people? In fact, I thought of one simile. If there's a serial killer and then around and he has killed many people, and then all the people in the town be afraid to go out at night, and they ask the police to catch the man. So after much investigation, the man is caught, then he's tried, and then sentenced to death, and then he's hanged, for example. Now, this man has to die, okay? Who has the biggest evil karma? If you really think about it, it's actually the hangman who actually hangs him. The second is the judge. Of course, the hangman can say, I only cari makan to feed my wife and children. I didn't sentence him to death. The judge sentenced him to death. And then the judge will say, I only sentenced only, I didn't do the act. You were the one who did the act. So the second most evil karma is the judge. Policeman, no evil karma. How about you? Actually, he has to die because of all of you, right? To safeguard all of you, he has to die. So you all got sin. Ultimately, it's for all of you that he has to die. But you have no evil karma, even though you contribute to his death. So in the same way, when an animal is killed to feed human beings, the most evil karma is the person who does the slaughter. The person who slaughters the chicken, or slaughters the pig, etc. The second most evil karma is the person who rears the animal to be slaughtered. Because from the beginning, he already has this idea in mind to sell it to be slaughtered, right? But the person who eats the slaughtered meat has no evil karma. In the same way. So it's a very good simile. So I shall end here.